Alrighty, we are back, and I am not going to waste your time with this intro. I know you're not here because you love the Festival of Battles. I know you're not here because you want to run special teams, test out new strategies. You are here because you want to win. You want to get the stones from the event. You want to have the titles from the event. You want to have the pride of completing the event, and you want to never think about this event ever again. Luckily for you, your old pal Vilify is going to give you everything you need to get it done once and for all right now. So if that interests you, let's go ahead and get started. Hey, future Vilify here. Use this Bulma item, this Deborah cookie item, and then this support memory here with Goku and Chi-Chi in this run. These are the three preparatory items that we need. Let's go get started. The first section I want to dedicate this video to is going to be the team building portion, aka how we can understand the team that we are using, why we are using each unit, the role that they are fulfilling, and all of that fun stuff. I think this is just going to make things a lot easier for you because once you understand what the units do, what they are doing it for, and how we're going to be doing it is how you can end up getting this run down and understanding if you do fail, potentially it can happen. I'm not going to say this is a 100% win rate. That's just not how this event is designed, but you're going to be able to make this a lot easier if you understand what you're doing and have your little milestones that you need to build the characters up to. So the first character we need to talk about is AGL Super Gogeta from the 10-year anniversary. This character has reran on the Global Dokkan campaign banners, so hopefully you did end up pulling him from there. But as of the time this video is live, he is also available in the coin shop if you absolutely need him. He is the leader of the team because of the fact that he has a 220/250% leader skill for fused fighters, pure Saiyans, and then his extra buff is going to be going to fusion characters. So with them being fusion characters, this is something that we're also going to have to consider for the rest of the team building process going forward. So this is why we are running him as the lead, simply for the fact that he has the best buffs for the overall team composition. But that is not where it stops, right? He also is going to be providing a massive amount of support from his fusion state, where you can use his active skill and essentially just one turn, one of the ending phases where that HP is so high and it's very intimidating. With this Gogeta support, he is essentially going to make Gogeta or Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta look a whole lot better. So that is his purpose on the team, to stack defense, have a lot of really good support, and essentially be a good floating character that's going to stack his defense. So that's the first character we need to talk about. Let's move on to the second one. The next unit we need to look at is one of the main rotation characters we are going to be using, and that is Tech Super Vegito from the 10th anniversary. The same policy is going to run with this guy as it did for Super Saiyan Gogeta, with him being available in the coin shop, and he reran on banners recently. This is one of the core units in the game for this event. He is in the Z+ tier in my recent video. He is one of the characters that we absolutely need to be using. He's able to stack his offense, he's able to stack his defense, and we are going to be doing this individually for both portions of the unit, and eventually we're going to get to where we need to be, where his numbers are high enough to tank everything that he needs to tank, and we're also going to build up his attack to the point where we can use some attack up items in order to buff him to the max potential. So with this Vegito, a very core staple of the team, one of your rotation units, we are going to stack his defense to a certain point. We'll get more into that later on in the video, and then we're going to flip him and start working on his offense at certain points. So this guy is going to be an absolute mainstay of the team, one of the characters you're bringing on rotation at all times, and he's going to work extremely well for you. Definitely a must run if you have him. The unit we're going to be running on rotation next to Super Vegito is going to be the Tech LR Gods. This character is a lot less thought-invoking in terms of how you're going to be stacking him, because they are going to be moving their offense and defense to super high proportions throughout the entire fight. You don't have to consider which supers you're using. This is just an extremely easy character that you need to stack, and then we are going to transform them at a very similar point that we are going to transform another character that we're going to be talking about here in a moment, the Physical Super Saiyan 4s. So this is an extremely important character that you want to have for their ability to action break and things like that. This is more of a character that we just know is not going to take damage at certain points because of just how they're designed, and with the additional damage reduction and orb changing that they can do, this is an extremely important character for the team, and one you're going to basically be running next to Tech Super Vegito the entire time. So very important character. Now we can just continue that discussion over here to the next character who we are going to be bringing, and that is going to be the Physical Super Saiyan 4s. The Physical Super Saiyan 4s are going to be another rotation piece that we are going to be using, and this is going to be the second rotation for the team building, right? we had the gods with Super Vegito. Now we are going to have the physical Super Saiyan 4s with somebody else who we'll be talking about in a moment. But this is going to be one of our main damage dealing characters, and we are also going to be using Deborah Cookie items to nuke as a physical type unit in order to take care of one of the phases. They have very strong active skills alongside the Tech LR gods, and this is going to give us the most amount of damage, especially towards the end of the fight, to potentially finish off the final phase or finish off the Gogeta phase, the second to last one, and this is what is going to make the team work very well. This guy has a very good rotation partner, and we can go ahead and talk about them now, but again, these guys are just mainly here for their sheer ability to stack extremely quickly, as well as get to points of invulnerability. Basically, by the time, you know, we're in that turn 50 to turn 60 range, we're not going to have to worry about them. They can sit in front of supers and do all of that fun stuff. Now, their rotation partner, I'm sure you guys can figure this one out, but it is going to be Super Saiyan 3 into Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going to give us additional support defensively, which is going to be super nice for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and he's going to be able to finish off a lot of turns with the sheer amount of damage he is doing. By the time we're in the that turn 40 to 50 range, this guy is an absolute insane levels of damage, right? A lot of double supers, lots of crits, right? And especially having the second Duth Path open for this guy is going to be super nice, but again, it is by no means required, and this is going to be the rotation partner for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. He enables a lot of his links, gives him support. This is the perfect pairing here. Now, you may be thinking, I want to run Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. We're not going to be running Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta on this specific setup due to the fact that he has nobody that could stack his defense, right? We are not running Trunks and Vegeta. We are not running the STR Blue Boys, and that is why we have the specific setup right here. But the last character we need to talk about is going to be probably the one that not everybody has, but we will go over alternatives for him. And this is going to be AGL Kid Goku from Saiyan Day. AGL Kid Goku from Saiyan Day is perfect for Festival of Battles, right? This guy has everything that you need. He stacks offense, and then he has defense that he is going to be building up as well. And he's going to have a guaranteed chance, not a guaranteed chance to dodge, but a chance at guaranteed evasion, right? So 22% chance to evade attacks. If that procs once, you're good, right? It's not just a regular 22%. It's a 22% that if it procs once, it procs for that whole turn. So if there are 100, attacks on that turn and that 22% goes, he's going to be able to dodge it. Now, what we have to worry about specifically with this character is the ability for him to get those supers, and we're sometimes going to have to hold back on certain turns, and we'll talk about that when we get into the gameplay portion. But with this team building process right here, I think this is one of the better characters that you can run, and I'm sure a lot of you are scrambling down to the comments to say you do not have this character, but don't worry, your boy has thought of this. Now, what we need to think about if we're not going to be using Kid Goku, we need to start thinking of some alternatives that are also characters that are friendly for stacking. Now, somebody like this Super Saiyan 2 Gohan isn't really going to fit on this specific team build that we are rocking with, right? You could potentially do a Tech Vegito leader and then take off Kid Goku and then put Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan there. I think a lot of you guys probably summoned on that Extreme Z banner to try and obtain him, but that also could potentially work for you. Now, Int Namek Goku, I think, is another character who could fit in just fine here. He is a pure Saiyan, and he is going to be fitting on this alternative section for you here as well. Now, the last character I want to talk about for an alternative is going to be Extreme Int TUR Broly here. This guy also gets a ton of buffs against pure Saiyans and stuff like that, and he is a very good stacking character that has additional damage reduction and things like that. I think Kid Goku is going to be better for how this run is going to work out, but this is another potential alternative. But if you have a character that can stack in the floating position pretty efficiently, that can potentially work for you. And I'll also be putting a team up on the screen right now that could work potentially a little bit better for you guys if you are missing some of the units that I used in this initial process. The footage is not going to be of this team, but this team can work just fine right here. You essentially want to keep Trunks and Vegeta with Super Vegito on one rotation for a long majority of the fight, and this is going to be a stacking process, and then you want to have the fours alongside the STR Blue Boys or AGL Goku in order to stack the defense. So this is potentially something else that you could run if you are looking for more of a GDC friendly level team, but the gameplay that we are going to be looking at today is not going to be focusing on this one. So this you could potentially look at, and if you want to see the gameplay for it, you can go check out my full run that I uploaded yesterday, but this is not the team we are going to be using today. Let's go ahead and hop into the gameplay portion, and I'll explain everything that we are going to be doing. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I think for the gameplay portion of this video in specific, it would be best for me to explain it as I go just to get things started and then speed up the footage a little bit later. So initially, what we need to be doing is setting up our proper rotations to get the fight started. Now, with this fight in specific, we are going to be looking to have the Super Saiyan 4s on the first rotation. This is so when we can line up the phases, we are going to have Trunks be able to get one-shotted by the Golden Great Ape Super Saiyan 3 into Super Saiyan 4 Goku. That is the first and foremost thing. So if Super Saiyan 3 Goku ends up on slot 7, that's fine, but you want to have him on the first turn or the third turn to start. This is extremely important. And this rotation is essentially going to be staying like this the entire time from this portion all the way through it, right? Like this rotation is not being broken up unless it absolutely has to get through a phase, to clear a phase, something like that. So just keep that in mind. This is going to be super important for later on, but the Super Saiyan 4s are going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting for that rotation, and then the Super Saiyan 3 into Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going to be doing the heavy lifting for the other one. Now, this rotation is not perfect here in this specific run, but what you are aiming to have is the Super Saiyan gods lined up with Tech Super Vegito, and the AGL Super Saiyan Vegetas are going to be tagging into Goku as soon as possible. So you can already see with damage, things are going to be a little bit funky here with just the way that this run works as a whole, but it shouldn't be too bad for you. So at this point, what we are looking to do is stack our specific characters to a certain point. And really, the LR gods and the LR4s, their stacking doesn't matter because, well, their stacking matters, but not like, we don't need to be paying attention to what they are stacking to, right? What we are trying to find with the LR year 10 characters is going to be, we want to be around in that 3 million sort of defense sweet spot with all of them, right? And then once we get there, we could start focusing on attack for Super Vegito, and then we are going to just stay in the defensive mode with Super Saiyan Goku from the AGL Gogeta portion of this character. This is set up so that way we can keep things in our control and have defense and tank all the normals at the end of the fight. This is the number that we have to get to. So we need to stack to around 3 to 3.5 million defense. That's probably where I would go. And then in the process, the year 7 characters are also going to be building up as well. So once we have our rotation set up, like I said, the Super Saiyan gods with Super Vegito, and then the Super Saiyan 4 Goku with the Super Saiyan 4s, we are going to just be carrying out this process and stacking the units all the way till the end of the fight, essentially, right? And then really, we're just going to be staying on cruise control with a couple alterations, basically until we get to around the Beast Gohan to Fat Boo portion. And that's where I really have to slow things down and explain like each phase individually so we can kind of get an idea of what we are doing. So right here, you can see I'm pausing a little bit, but this is just so we can see the amount of supers that we have and all these different things. As well as whether or not we should be using the active skill. And I'm also checking, I messed up with my hidden potential build on this one, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. It was a long stream, okay? But we have a dupe in there. He's fine. We still have the gold slot equipment for the orb, but we are going to use AGL Kid Goku's active there. This is going to ensure that Ki is going to be a lot easier for him. Now, you guys can see what we are doing. We are tagging into Vegito, or to Super Good, what's it called, to Vegeta, and then with this Goku character, we are going to tag, or Vegeta, we are going to tag into Goku. So now, this is how these characters are going to be staying, and we're floating off Goku because that is not the character we want to keep on rotation. But maybe for this instance, probably what you could do, specifically right here, is put like Kid Goku in slot 1, so that way you could potentially make sure you get the damage. But orbs are going to be a little bit of a problem as well. We'll explain that later, and I'll kind of explain what's going on in terms of that. But with this right here, we should be fine, right? Like, he is going to be fine here. But now that we have these characters in their defensive portions, and we are almost to the point where we are going to transform with Golden Great Ape, we can speed up the footage a little bit so that way you guys understand the process that we are going to be going through in terms of stacking and all of that fun stuff. So this is basically the process here. What we have now, we're going to get the Golden Great Ape out. We are going to get Super Saiyan 4 Goku moving, and then we are going to sort of just turn our brains off and do a ton of stacking. And that is going to be the process for this fight until we reach a certain point where we need to start paying attention. But this is what we need to know. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start moving a little bit quicker through this, and I will slow down when we need to. Okay, so now we are just going to speed this up a ton. You guys don't need to be sitting here and watching me stack for a super long time. It's just you guys will get the idea. This is essentially the process that we are doing here. You are seeing that the LR Super Saiyan 4s are going to be holding down our slot 1, and then we are going to be putting Tech Vegeta into slot 1 and not really getting the 18 key very often in order to stack his defense and then build the LR gods at the same time. Now, the next like super marquee moment here, where we don't even really need to slow it down, is going to be when we are fighting our boy Merge Zamasu, right? This is the AGL Merge Zamasu, and you guys can see we made a mess. Like, we made a mistake. We had the the data download at the same time, just putting the characters where we need to put them, and this is just going to be your sort of rinse and repeat setup right here, where we are again building the Super Saiyan. It's mainly what the whole purpose of this is, to get the year 10 anniversary characters to the specific point where we need them. And a lot of this is going to be involving slowing down like this, not getting the 18 key every single time, but potentially at certain points you are going to have to potentially tag into Vegeta on the AGL Gogeta portion of the unit, because if you don't, you could potentially just lose out on some damage. You guys can see we are doing the 12 key super attack with this Vegeta a lot, and it could potentially mess up the run, so just keep that in mind. And then we're also getting Goku hit every once in a while, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, because we need to give him some orbs. So this is the point of the fight that I was talking about, where we have this the phase here. Now we have the AGL Zamasu, and what this is essentially meaning for us is we now have 6 charges available. So with these 6 charges available, you're going to actually be able to do things a little bit differently, and you can hold back more because you have that extra turn, and in turn this is going to help us go very slow and stack our year 10 characters to the point where we need to go. So essentially what this specific portion of the run is going to be, again, getting the characters where we need to get them, making sure everybody is getting super attacks. That's really important, that we get everybody super attacks, because everybody needs to build up, and if we get that second turn, that's really good. Never be afraid to get the extra stack, right? That is like, at the end, sometimes, like especially when you have those extra turns, that is exactly what you are going to be looking for, is that extra portion of stacking for the unit. I think that's really important, and you guys are going to see that. You can see a lot. Like, I know the footage is really fast, but you can see that I am getting every once in a while the 12 key, right? Like, you can see I'm not going all out, like, because this is just how you want to play the run. So what we are doing is rinsing and repeating this process until we get right around Beast Gohan or Int Fat Boo, and that's where we have to slow down and really start explaining things, because there are going to be other strategies for the run, and that is where things really, you actually have to start paying attention, because the boss can potentially take you out. What we're really doing here, I think it, like, playing with our food is a bit of an exaggeration or a way to put it, but really we are just intentionally going slow, making sure that we get as many turns as possible, taking advantage of the charge counter. If they want to give us the extra room to build our characters up and get them where they need to be, I think that's completely okay. And this way you guys can see specifically, even if you got to play it at quarter speed to see a specific turn, you can do that, right? So we're getting there, right? We're already up to 2021 with this footage. I like this times 1,000 thing here in terms of our like speeding up the footage, right? But that's really what we're doing, and I will slow it down once you see that we tag back to all of the things that we want to do. But one thing to keep in mind, now we are here at the year 6 portion, and I'm assuming that we tagged back here because we've reached the defensive point that we are looking for. So what we can do is, I'll check the defense when we get to where we slow this down around in Fat Boo, but again, we are looking to be at around 3 to 3.5 million with them, and now I've tagged back into Goku, so we are good to go, and we don't need to be worrying about his defense anymore. So about, how many turns is that? About 30 something turns in, that is really where you are looking to potentially stack back and start working on attack, because we do need to work on his damage for the last phases, right? Tech Vegito doing his damage is going to be extremely important towards the end of the fight. We're checking supers right there, we're checking the support memories that we have and the items. When it comes to those things, it's going to work out very well. You want to bring a Bulma item, and then you want to bring Deborah cookies. I forgot to mention that. I'll put that like at the beginning of the footage. I'll put it in text. So this is, again, we're starting to get to the point where we're in 2021. So we're moving pretty good at this point, and not getting the Dokkan attack is also something that you can do. It's not a must by any means, but I think it's important to at least get some of that or not get any of the Dokkan attacks, because again, the whole goal here is to go slow. Now you can see, just in case for whatever reason Super Saiyan 4 Goku did not take care of things right there, I tagged into Vegeta just in case we needed the damage. But otherwise, we want to just consistently stay away from using the damage on that Vegeta, right? We want to just stay in the defensive form, stack him for as long as possible, and work on that. So right here, Ki is really bad, but holding back really isn't the end of the world. This is just sort of a way that we can work through this, and we are now entering the year 7 portion of these fights, and we were able to stack, we were able to do all sorts of fun things, check defense, all of that, and now we are good to go. And we are almost to a point where we can just stop like holding back, right? Like it's like all good, like we really actually need to start doing the damage here, and that is going to be around the 2023 point, because once we hit Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the int one, we are going to be able to have 9 charges rather than just 6. So it kind of works out that way, that the bosses are starting to have real HP. And then again, that is when we have to slow down the footage and look at things individually. So that is what we're going to have to explain, and we will go a little bit slower when we get there. But, you know, condensing this down to about, 20 to 30 minutes, I think, is about where I want it to be. And this is just how we get through this initial portion here really, really quick and get this stuff done. So you guys can see the Kid Goku's getting supers in, and that is what we are aiming to do. Get as many characters, as many supers as possible. And I think so far with this run, this has gone pretty smooth, right? You guys can see, I know it's really fast, but you can potentially see what we are looking for here in terms of damage, right? In terms of offense, in terms of defense. Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going to be really clutch for this run in specific, due to the fact that he has something that a lot of other characters on this team don't, and that is he's just getting so much ki, because every time he's taking a hit, he's getting additional ki. So we only have to get 1 orb, we'll be at 24 ki with that character, and he ends up working out very well. Now, this portion right here can sometimes be a little bit annoying, because blast supers against this Super Saiyan, or this base Goku right here, can potentially be a little bit of an issue, because he just nullifies them and it's a bit annoying. But we are starting to near the portion where we have to slow things down, and this is it right here. This isn't the portion right here, but this is part of it, right? So now we have 9 charges. So in turn, we have a little bit more flexibility, but given that flexibility, we have to be a little bit careful, right? So now we are going to take care of this guy, we're going to take care of Vegito Blue, and then we are going to have the New Year's character, and then after that Super Saiyan 3 Goku, that is when the footage is going to slow down a little bit, right? And then you guys can see, sometimes I'm going to make mistakes, and we have to kill the app, right? These things happen, you got to do what you got to do, and we were debating right there, in there, like whether or not we should go into Goku or Vegeta for that portion, but now we have type advantage in this turn, so we're feeling very good. The gods are stacked up very well. Super Vegito is going to do a ton of damage here because of just the way that we've been working with him. You guys can see he's just shredding through that HP bar, and we're also getting my favorite stacks of the whole run, Kid Goku, because Kid Goku is very hard to stack with. So again, we know we have 3 extra charges here, so even if we don't get the kill on this turn, that's going to be fine, and we've managed to take care of him. So now we are up to Dragon Fist Goku, and this is going to be the last phase of the run here, where we are going to slow things down, and now we really need to start paying attention once we get to around Beast Gohan. In this case, though, you'll see in a little bit that Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going to take care of our boy here, and then we can stop and start going a little bit. Okay, so I decided when looking at this that 200% would probably be the best way to go about it, because at 100% the video would still be an hour long, and I want to try and respect your time at least as much as I can in an event like this, right? I know that Dokkan doesn't respect your time with this event, but I will respect your time with the guide for the video. Now, looking at this in specific, we have to start paying attention here, especially into the next phase, because Beast Gohan, this one isn't going to be as significant, because Beast Gohan is going to be supering in the same spot every single time. He is going to be supering in the 3rd slot on the 2nd turn. So you have 2 options, right? You can either see like what character you want to take the super, or what you can do potentially is just take him out before he can get the super to you. Now, with this run in specific, this is where Super Saiyan 4 Goku is a really clutch character, because of the fact that he has the ability to just do a ton of damage, a ton of supers with his crits and stuff like that. Then you guys are going to see that we put Goku in that 3rd slot, and then potentially what we are going to be doing is looking at the dodge, we're checking defense, seeing what we need to do, and what we have right here is a bit of a lucky break, because we have that guaranteed 24 ki with the Super Saiyan 4s. Now, we're good. Essentially, what we are looking for here is that Goku is going to dodge it if we run into that situation, but where the 4s have stacked up to, where Super Saiyan 4 Goku is stacked up to, we're feeling very good at at this point about where we're at, and we're pretty confident that we're going to be able to take Beast Gohan out before that super becomes a bit of an issue. But if not, then we also have Goku's 80% chance to dodge and his defensive stacking up to this point. Now, one question you may be asking at this point in the run is, why have you not tagged back into Vegeta for damage? Well, the answer is pretty simple to that one. We're not worried about Vegeta's damage. He is not here. He's only there to do damage if we need him to finish off a phase. Now, here we are, right? This is where we really have to start thinking about things. This is a specific portion of the run that you guys are going to be seeing me every single turn fusing with either Tech Super Vegito, or we're going to be fusing with physical Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. This is an extremely important thing that you need to be doing in order to win in this run. You may be asking, what are you doing, right? Maybe you haven't played difficult content in this game before, or you're just new to how difficult content in Dokkan works, and that's completely okay. What you can do with a character that has what is known as the Scouter mechanic is potentially check where the super is by fusing and then killing the app and loading back in. When you load back in, this is going to you're going to see where the super is, right? So like there's an attack that has a star. You guys are going to be seeing that we are going to be looking for that in every single turn. But when you go back in, the super is not going to move spots, and you're also going to be defused with your Tech Goku because the turn essentially resets. Now, the game, I guess they just never are going to work around this. They're okay with us doing it, and if the game is going to let us do it, then we have to do it because it's just going to make our lives a lot easier. Now, you may be wondering, why is this the phase that you are starting to do this? Why aren't you doing this every turn throughout the entire run? Well, the super isn't really a threat up until this point, right? This is where the supers can actually start doing real damage to us, so we have to start checking where they are. In this case, you guys can see it's in slot 2, so we know it's here, and I believe this is a portion of the run where we have to gamble. At one point, I have to break my rotations up, and this might be it right here, because we know, maybe I'm confident in Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Yeah, I am. Okay, so it's not this, but you're going to see at one point in this run, I have to break the rotation up because we don't know if Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going to tank it or not, right? Like that's why you saw that slight pause there. I'm like, are we good? Do we need to reset the app? You guys are sure, right? I had somebody helping me. Big shouts out to Batman in the Discord. He was instrumental in helping me get this video out, so I am very appreciative of you. I appreciate your time. Thank you for helping me make this video. And if you guys want to join the community Discord, you can down below. Very good place to get help with a run like this. The festival is tough, but we have assets in the community Discord that can definitely help you do that. So in this turn in specific, you guys see we're looking pretty good at this point, right? Things are going the way we want them to, and the biggest enemy that we have in this whole run, you guys are going to see at one point, is the key and the orbs. And eventually, like, it might be where the super is, but we have to break up a rotation at one point, and that is where things start to get a little bit like tricky, right? So just keep that in mind. But overall, I think for sure you guys can do this. I am 100% confident. And now we're to a point where it's like, all right, we're type disadvantage here. We have the gods, but we're effective against all types because we're at 24 key. We are going to do the Dokkan attack and actually take advantage of the damage because we aren't messing around anymore, right? We are done with the like messing around with the boss, right? Like if we're coming in, we're doing our damage and we're getting out. Now, again, because right there we had the gods in slot 2, that was the last turn we knew what we had to do. We're scouter checking, and this is where I believe that we do have to think about breaking up a rotation on the run. We're checking defense, trying to see where things are at. You guys can see that the defense is looking pretty good at this point if you look at the screen, right? Like, characters are where they need to be, but that slot 3 super provides us with a huge problem, right? Because now we know that the super is in slot 3, and this is where things can go wrong, right? Despite this being a guide, this run was far from perfect in terms of like how things can go, but this is just how the run operates. So now what we're thinking is, where do we need to put the character, right? And this is where, unfortunately, I have to break up the rotation, right? And this is like, this hurts a lot, having to break this rotation up because of just how important Super Saiyan 4 Goku is to the LR Super Saiyan 4s. And you may be wondering why I killed the app there again. I killed the app there again because we are just trying to path the orbs properly, so that way we can get Ki, we can get the super with Kid Goku. This is just a very tough portion of the run. And then we say Kid Goku is going to go into slot 1 here. We're going to chance the dodge. And that way we can also give the Super Saiyan 4s the damage that they need, because it is very important to the run. So Kid Goku there was tanked up enough for the normals, and we knew he was not going to be taking a super there because we did the scouter check. So this is how this turn's going to play out here. And you guys can see Kid Goku's doing pretty respectable damage despite being type disadvantage. And then we're also putting the LR Super Saiyan 4s in that second spot. So that way they have their GT links, their Saiyan Roar link, all legendary power, all those different things. This is going to help the 4s still do the same amount of damage that they would have done on the turn if the rotation had stayed the same. So now we have to operate for the next few turns knowing that we don't have Saiyan Roar active, that we don't have GT active, right? That Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta are not going to have as much support as they normally would. Now, thankfully, they're stacked up to a point where we don't have to worry about that, but Super Saiyan 4 Goku is more than okay to take the super because we've been stacking him for as many turns as we have at this point. So again, this is like, we're to the point of the fight where it's like, this is where things get real. So we're scouter checking again. We know where the super is. We're good to go. We don't have to break anything up, and we are moving good. And this is very important that we do it this way, because the rotations have to stay in a very specific sort of portion at this point, because we want to make sure that we're stacking characters properly. So now you can see we have the defense points that we need, and we this footage was a little bit ago, so we're just rewatching it, and I'm just checking things, and we got it sped up and all that. But now we can potentially do something like this. We're putting them in slot 1 because they're going to be okay. Then we have the LR gods as well because we know where the super is going to be. So we want to put the gods where the super is. That is like what we're trying to aim to do here. Because of just the way things are. We tag into Vegeta. We're looking around thinking, what should we do? This again, things just get a little bit crazy here because the run just got broken up, and this is what we opt to do. So now Vegeta's good to take the normals here because we've built up his defense over the course of the run, and his attack also isn't horrible. You guys can see it was about like 40 million right there with really bad ki, and then the gods are in a good spot as well to do their thing, and we're going to be able to get a lot of damage in, and this turn should be good to go. Now, thinking about the next turn, we are going to have AGL Super Gogeta. Probably, I forget exactly what we do in this next instance of the gameplay here. Like, I'm kind of rewatching this with you guys, but now what we have to do, this is where, okay, so this is also a very important thing. This is the portion of the fight where we transform with Super Gogeta, and on this turn, unless we kill the app here, yeah, with this turn here, we are no longer, like, killing the app with Gogeta. So that is the point where you want to transform with your Year 7 LRs. Once you get to the standby Goku from the Broly movie, that is when you want to transform into Gogeta, when you want to transform into the LR gods, and we are only going to have to scouter check now on one specific turn. You're going to do it on the Vegito turns because obviously we are not transforming with Vegito just yet. We're going to have to wait a little bit. Then this, I also believe, is the phase where you want to start using the Bulma items because we are around there. We brought some Bulma items to help increase our attack. My guy, Batman, like I said, was telling me to do that, and I believe I forgot to at one point, and we thought that was going to cost the run, but you'll see a few things go our way. So in theory, this run could also go even smoother than the one that you're looking at right now, but the core principles and strategies that we are going to be operating with are going to be staying the same. So right here, we tag, we scouter check, we find the super, we realize it's good, it's in slot 1, right? We're good to go. This is where the gods are going to be transforming, and they're going to be going into the blues, and we are all set, right? Things are going to be going our way. So sometimes it's not going to work like that, right? Sometimes the super is going to be in slot 3, and then you're like, oh, what should I do here, right? And what we have to do is float Super Saiyan 4 Goku off in order to try and get him back on rotation with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta as quickly as possible. One thing that's a thought that's in the back of our heads right now is, okay, can we get Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta linked up with Super Saiyan 4 Goku in time for the Daima phase? Because that is a very important aspect to the phase as well. Just trying to get that there. So right here, you guys can see the gods are putting in some decent work, getting their supers in, doing all that fun stuff. This rotation is fine, but unfortunately Tech UI robbed us of the proper rotation that we wanted, but these things happen. It's just the nature of the game. But the run going pretty well so far, right? This is, again, where things get, this is like, if the fight wasn't real enough at Tech UI, this is where the fight is super duper real, right? Like the super is going to take you out if the wrong unit takes it. So we need to be taking all the precautionary measures, killing the app, doing the scouter technique, transforming into our Super Saiyan Blue portions of the character, fusing into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. We are now seeing the fruits of our stacking and stuff like that, and you guys can see it's resulting in some pretty high damage numbers, and I think that's one of the more fun parts of the festival, if I'm being honest, seeing the characters get up into like that 100 million range with stacking and things like that. We've always wanted an infinite stacking event, and this is probably the best thing that we're going to get for it. And you may be saying like, oh man, I really wish that the stacking event was Yeah, so right here is where we use the Bulma item, right? That is like where we want to do it, just to ensure, because we don't have Super Saiyan 4 Goku linked up with Vegeta, or with Super Saiyan, why can't I talk? With Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, we have to like move quick, right? We want to use that attack up item and ensure that Gogeta is going to do more than enough right there. We had the attack support from one of the year 10 characters, and we are now into one of the more annoying phases of the fight. And this is the Daima phase. Allow me to welcome you to hell. So what we are going to do here is we are going to be scouter checking, finding where they are, and you can see that they are both in slot 1. So this is exactly what we want, because the LR gods are more than capable of doing what they need to do, especially with their rainbow orbs. And we are now going to be coming back and having Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta linked up with Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So you guys can see with how this run has went so far, we have weathered the storm. We are tagging into Vegeta just to check defense and do all these specific things. And we are going to be targeting Glorio mainly on this specific rotation. We are going for the more defensive setup here because Vegito is not going to be doing much anyway in this specific portion of the fight. So now we are just trying to go all in on Glorio because we have a one-man wrecking crew for Daima Mini Goku with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So that is kind of what we are looking to do here in specific with the run. And we're going to get in a decent amount of damage here on Daima Glorio in order to sort of be where we need to be. This is where the attack up items are going to come into play. We are not worried about a no item run for this guide in specific. We are worried about getting this specific. We're just worried about clearing the stage, right? So Vegeta doing like 45 million is nice. And when you put into the context that we have, I believe, 9 charges in this specific phase, we're good to go, right? Like this, we are looking pretty damn good at this point. Our rotations are where we need them to be, and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is going to go absolutely crazy, especially if we counter the supers with scouter checking and all of that fun stuff. And we end up, this is actually where things get a little bit kind of funky because of the fact that both of the supers are in slot 2. So what we are thinking here, we put Super Saiyan 4 Goku in slot 1. He's capable of dealing with the normals, but not dealing with the supers, right? And the way that this is going to end up working really well for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is this. I think actually with this turn, we messed this one up like 3 times. So let me actually cut this specifically so we get the right turn. Okay, so after much trial and error, I was able to get the turn that I wanted. What I kept messing up was who I was targeting specifically, if you really want to know, with this specifically. And now we are thinking, like, do we use an item here? Do we check the Bulmas right? And what we are essentially trying to do here is set it up so Glorio is taken out by the time we're done with Super Saiyan 4 Goku, or Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and then Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is going to counter a super from Mini Goku, and that is going to do a metric ton of damage. A post-super counter from Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is going to do a ton. You guys have to remember that that attack stat is exponentially higher than what it shows on the screen. So what we are doing here is trying to get as much damage as possible in on Mini Goku right here, and then we are going to transition over. I think what we do is we attack Mini Goku with Gogeta, or do we take out Glorio? Yeah, we take out Glorio right here, and then we are going to counter the super, hopefully counter the super from Mini Goku, and that is going to just absolutely run through him. So that is where we are at this point, doing some decent damage. We have the type advantage over him. We have the attack up item going, and that is just how it's going to go. We're going to counter this super. It's over 200 million damage, so you guys can see that is just a free one-shot. And we are now to the fun portion of the fight, and this is the Super Saiyan Gogeta portion. Now, what we are going to be doing is making sure that we have our attack up item going here, and then we want to tag over, and we are going to fuse in order to see the super. Now we know where everything is going to be. The super's in slot 1 and we're good to go. And why have we stacked these characters as high as we have? Up to this point, it was in order to ensure that they do what they do. So we're checking defense, we're doing all those fun things, and in this case, I believe on this turn, I want to double check that, we are going to, on the Gogeta portion here, we're debating what we want to do. We're tagging into him for the extra support, we're fusing, and I believe we're going to save the active here, but maybe we don't. It's been a while since I've seen this footage, to be honest. We're just checking everything, making sure things are good, doing what we got to do. Again, just going slow because we've made it to this point. We are very deep into this run, so we're seeing what we should do, checking defense, doing all these things. Who's going to be able to take the normal? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? That's what we are looking at this point. But with the super in slot 1, we know that the gods are going to take it just fine, and we're just at this point seeing the defense, seeing what we need to do. Do we need to do the Vegito active? Do we need to do the Gogeta active to get to where we need to be? Right? We're going to do the the active skill here with Gogeta to get as much damage in as possible. Not with Gogeta in specific, but with Vegito, we're checking defense, we're getting the extra support. This is how we're going to end up winning the fight. Now, are we going to taunt here? We are not going to taunt here, and then we're going to get as many rainbow orbs as possible. We're going to try and save that taunt for the next appearance in case we need it, because we'll be able to get that defense. But the gods here are going to be fine. They didn't dodge it there, but that's okay. And we are doing a ton of damage. I believe that's at 300 million there on that attack stat, and this is going to help us perfectly set up into what we are aiming to do, which is take this fight in specific, I believe, 2 to 3 turns. That way we can have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta come in and sort of clean up. So we are not expecting Tech Vegito to do everything we need him to do, and you're going to see what I mean by that. What we are going to do is win on this next turn, and then we are going to have Tech Vegito with his active skill do what he needs to do with his taunt. We are just not using the taunt right away. We're checking the defense and seeing what we need to do. And now you guys can see with all of these normals, Tech Vegito is going to do more than enough. So what we essentially did here without the taunt because of the normal placement was took out Vegito or Gogeta in 1 turn. Now, what we're going to do is have multiple turns available for this Vegito phase. Now we have the Super Checker, and now what we're going to be doing, this is where things actually, I believe, get a little bit tricky. What we are going to do is use the Deborah Cookie items. This is why we brought these, to get the field with as many physical orbs as possible for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. This is going to raise his attack to astronomical portions. He's going to be countering 2 of these supers, doing a ton of damage because he's getting attack and defense of a percentage per orb that we are using for physical orbs. So we had a whole field worth of physical orbs, and now we are just double checking because Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going to take that super, and we're confident that he is going to be able to tank it again because of the amount of supers that we did. So you guys can see these counters are doing like 1/3 of his HP alone, and then we have supers, and then we're going to get a post-super counter, and that is going to ultimately get us where we need to be. So now at this point, we can go ahead and slow down the footage. So with all of that being said, we have reached sort of the end of the fight here. Now Gogeta is countering that super, and it's at 300 million on the counter. You have to remember that is, again, multiplicative. So Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is doing his thing here, and believe it or not, you may think it's over on this turn, but funny enough, it is actually not. We have a little bit more to go. So I thought that was really funny, and then Goku here, you guys can see he's also putting in some crazy damage, and we ultimately end up, what I think is really funny about this run in specific, is you guys are going to see in a moment, we end up not even needing the taunt, which I thought was really funny. But it's just sort of the way that things go. But that's also just a stark reminder of just how this event's formatted. And now you guys are going to see that Goku is going to be just fine here with this super. I know it seems crazy, but defensively, especially after you've been stacking as long as you have with an attack up item doing all these things, he's completely fine, and he did his thing. So 71 turns in, that's the fruits of our stacking. Like I said, Kid Goku doing decent damage, and his defensive stat is a lot higher than what it looks like on the surface. So you also have to keep that in mind with this character. He works out very well, but if you want to run like Int Namek Goku, I think he can work just as fine in here. Kid Goku was also just like, felt like he was really designed for this event, so we took advantage of that. And keep in mind, he's also not a must run by any stretch of the imagination. So here we go. We're getting out of this turn, and then he's going to take these normals just fine. You guys can see those weren't dodged. We didn't even need the dodge chance to proc, and we are now in a situation where the fight is guaranteed to be over. Right? You guys can see we have the Gogeta active, we have the Vegito active, and then we also have the LR Gods active. So what I'm aiming to do essentially is fuse into Gogeta here, and we're going to start watching animations. That's basically where we're at. We're going to do this. I believe we only watch one, but what we're going to do is use the Gogeta active right here to get as much damage as possible, ensure our victory with the item, although we're probably not going to need it, right? But let's go ahead and ensure our victory here with it and get as much damage in as possible. So you can see they did a lot of damage right there, and then I turn this off because I know at this point it's like, all right, we have this in the bag, and then which active do we want to go for? We go for Vegito's double spirit sword, aka the Getsuga Jujutsu. That's what I like to call it. So this is ultimately how you get done the Festival of Battles. I think this strategy is extremely consistent and very easy to set up. So let me know down below what you guys think. Was this helpful? I hope it was. It was very tough to sort of script this one out, figure out everything that we needed to do, get the footage in the first place of the clear, and there she is, the Vegito windscreen and 9999999 damage. We finally got it done. So there you go. And of course, the cord has to break on me right as we do that, because why wouldn't it? But that is the run for the Festival of Battles, and that is the guide. If you have any questions for this specific run, you can leave them in the comment section below or join the community Discord in order to get any of your questions answered if you need team building help and all of that stuff. Again, big thank you to Batman over there. I know it's funny that his name is Batman, but he was extremely helpful in helping me get this done. So it wouldn't be possible without you guys, your support, as well as him helping me out. So big thank you to him, and I appreciate your guys' time. I hope you enjoyed this one, and the Festival of Battles is a little bit easier now and you understand how to run it. Hopefully you can tackle this behemoth of an event. Good luck in your runs, and I'll see you all in the next one.